It's not fair to that mom. It's not fair to her children. Feel safety has to happen. A change has to happen. They need to investigate all the apartments. This can't happen again. Like, there's no excuse for this right now.
A tragic day in Town and Country. A mother and her 2 children are dead, killed in an apartment fire early this morning. Hillsborough County Fire Rescue crews arrived at the Captiva Club apartments around 3 o'clock this morning. We have our team coverage at the scene of that fire this afternoon. 10 News reporter Eric Glasser and 10 News reporter Sarah Rosario are both live this afternoon. Eric, let's start with you. Do they have any idea at this point how this fire got started?
Well, it's still so early, Allison. What we do know, and you can really see it very clearly from where we're standing right now, is that the fire apparently started right there on the 2nd floor of what is Building 3 out here at the apartment complex. Fire officials say they got that call just before 3:30 this morning. Deputies who were first to arrive at the scene started pulling people out of their apartments, going door to door. They say the fire alarms and smoke detectors were going off, so those don't seem to have been the problem. They appear to have been functioning. Witnesses say a woman by the name of Marilise Velasquez came out of her room and was in the hallway of her apartment, but within moments, she realized that her 2 children, ages 5 and 10, were not behind her. And at that moment, according to her roommate, Velasquez ran back inside the unit. But sadly, she and both of her children never made it out.
I don't even know how to comment, for a mother's love to go back in and know that my children may be inside, not knowing that they were inside, but they may be inside and she lost her life because of it. I mean, is there any greater actions of love than the one displaced by this mother today?
There were 8 apartments in the building damaged by fire, at least 12 people displaced. The Red Cross is helping them find shelter. This, by the way, is the 3rd major fire at this same apartment complex within the last 3.5 years. About a dozen units destroyed in 2015, another fire just last year damaging several more units. Whether or not those fires are somehow related, we simply don't know, but it certainly has people who live inside this complex talking. In the past, it had simply been a matter of damage and a loss of personal goods. Unfortunately, this time, it also includes a loss of life. Allison?
Yeah, Eric, it is just awful. That news of the mother and the 2 children dying is heartbreaking, and it's really hitting this community hard. 10 News reporter Sarah Rosario talked with a woman who says that she lived with the family killed in the fire. Sarah, she told you how she escaped those flames.
Allison, that woman's name is Carmela Ortiz, and she cried hysterically as she was telling us about the fire ripping through this apartment complex early this morning. As Eric was telling you about, you can see the damage here behind me. And she says at first she thought it was a drill, waking up to the sound of fire alarms and the smoke detector going off, she said, is something that has happened in the past. But this time, when she smelled smoke, she says she knew it was serious. She immediately grabbed her daughter, who was 21 years old, and she ran towards the door. As you take a look at this video now, you can see just how extensive this fire is, the flames shooting through the roof. Ortiz says when she got outside, that's when she realized that her roommate and the 5 and 10-year-old children that she lived with were nowhere to be seen. Ortiz says she immediately ran back to her apartment. She tried opening the door, even tried kicking down the door, but she says the heat overwhelmed her. She says that's when she ran to tell neighbors and eventually firefighters when they arrived.
I know that she didn't come out behind me, and when the fire department came, I immediately grabbed them and said, "There's 2 kids up there and my roommate, you have to go."
And as Eric mentioned, this is again the 3rd fire that we have seen here at this apartment complex in just 3.5 years. And coming up tonight on 10 News, we'll have much more into those fires. We'll be looking closely at them. We'll also have more on what you need to do to be prepared if this ever happens where you live. Allison.
Our crews are going to stay on top of this investigation today. We'll give you updates as soon as we get them at WTSP.com. Eric Glasser will have that update for you as well, starting at 5 on 10 News this evening.